All right, traders, welcome back. My name is Chris, and I am the Algo Man here on TikTok. In today's recap of the NASDAQ 100 futures, I'm going to break down exactly what happened in one of the choppiest, most deceptive market sessions we've had in a while. Really a textbook classic cyclic day, and even one that our internal bot actually called in advance over on Discord. Now, if you traded today without the right tools, chances are you got chopped up, spit out, and your account balance is limping. But for those of you running with CYMO Pro and the PureMO combination, guys, you saw it coming, you adapted, you survived, and maybe even thrived, okay? So, before we dive into the session, we need to take step one, okay? And that's we need to read the DNA. Because like always, guys, we start by looking at the last half hour of the prior session, okay, which is this little bit right here. And why do we do that? Because that's where the DNA is buried, okay? And between 1545 right here all the way to 415, you see what's happening right here, okay? CYMO Pro began cycling right here towards the close of the market. It had been going down. So, the market was actually trending, but it was trending in a very tight, choppy fashion. If you notice the yellow line below 0.80, this means the market was trending to the downside. And sure enough, price was coming down, but it was coming down in a very slow, choppy formation. Look at that, just going sideways, going down, sideways. It's a very choppy trade to the downside. And what typically follows a trend, you have a cycle. So here was your cycle to the upside right here, that smack daddy just kind of stalled at the support line right there. Now, what did we have happening here with CYMO at the very last bar of yesterday's session, okay? Momentum was flattening right here still, even though it's above the zero line, okay? We had a little bit of a shift in rhythm to the downside. The cycle was coming down, but it wasn't just here, guys. It was all the way down here. And if cycle is all the way down here, already running its full course, and momentum is way up here above zero, what do you think is likely to happen, guys? This is the earliest clue that we're getting right here, guys, that we were likely to get a volatile and messy open, okay? So, if cycle's down and momentum is up, which way is the market likely to open, okay? Momentum's up. Remember, momentum is pulling price up right here, and cycle is down. Remember, what comes down must go which way. All right? So we're going to see how that opened, okay? Because what's going to... Exactly. Right on, Van City Bob. Exactly. And bam, sure enough, the market did open with a massive bar to the upside, slammed into the 80-bar VWAP, recoiled, and right there, the very first move of the day was your warning shot, guys. The day was going to be a minefield of fake outs, reversals, and tight range traps, okay? But if you were running CYMO on your chart and PureMO on your trend chart, you saw the truth behind the candles. You weren't guessing, you were reading structure, okay? So, what we're going to do today is from the open, right now, I'm going to go ahead and start this till about 11 a.m. We're going to walk you through several key trades, the entries that aligned across CYMO and PureMO, confirmations that filtered out the noise, price reacting cleanly to the VWAP boundaries. It wasn't a day for elephants, guys. It was a day for precision hunting in a jungle full of trap wires. And after 11 a.m., well, not much worth chasing, I'll be honest with you. The rest of the day went into full chop, and we don't force trades just to be in the game, okay? We wait for the rhythm to match our tools. That's the difference between guessing and trading like a pro. So let's go ahead and run this bad boy. I'm going to go ahead and tune it down a little bit to 8 times the speed of the market so you guys could actually follow along. And then when I'm done with this, we'll upload it to YouTube, post the screenshot over on Discord, and you guys can audit this and repeat this process yourself, okay? So let's go ahead. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Boom, right there. So remember, cycle is all the way down right here. Momentum is up. What goes down must go which way? Up, okay? So we're expecting a move to the upside with cycle being all the way down here. And there you go. That's your move to the upside this morning. But hang tight, man. Look at what just happened. This move was so strong to the upside that it actually hit the 80 bar VWAP. And if it's smack daddy right there at the 80 bar VWAP, guys, there's a high probability that this thing is going to bounce and come back down, okay? This is not a trade to chase. It's not a trade to go after. It hits this 80 bar VWAP. Remember, I've told you guys many times, there's only two things that can happen if price hits the 80 bar VWAP. It either breaks or it falls, okay? It bounces. And in this case, it hit the 80 bar VWAP, smack daddy with precision, and did it break? No. It bounced. Look at this, okay? And so cycle is above zero and momentum is rising right here. If we get a cyclic turn to the downside, guys, this whole entire move is completely over and done with, okay? It is over and done with. And right there, that is your cycle crossing right there. And that is the entry to a potential short signal right there. Okay. Had a little bit of a delay right there with that printing, but cool. And this bad boy is coming down right there, okay? We took that trade right there as soon as cycle began coming down. And this is going to be a cycle trade right here, okay? And if it's a cycle trade, we will go ahead and exit in a little bit the moment that these bad boys intersect. So let's see what happens. Oh, wow, look at this. Momentum fell all the way down here to the bottom, okay? So let me go ahead and pause this because I think this is worth reflecting upon right here, okay? This is actually really, really, really good, okay? You had momentum fall all the way below the threshold. What's the first thing we do, guys, when momentum falls or rises above either of these thresholds, the green threshold here or the red threshold there? We pause and we look at our trend chart. And we ask the question, is this the onset of a trend? Is this the onset of a move that's going to be longer than your usual trend cycle, okay? So we got in the cyclic component of the move right here, but does this cycle component mean that this is actually going to be a trend to the downside, okay? And the only way we can find out is if you pause and you turn over to your trend chart, which we'll go ahead and look at right here, okay? This is our trend chart. And you see our trend chart's constructed a little bit differently because we've got PureMO and we've got a variation of scalp mode right here that only represents what the price component is doing up here, okay, with the cyan line. So let's go ahead and analyze this carefully. We stopped, we're going to look, we're going to determine what's going to happen right here. Well, the good thing is that we know that cycle is down here below the zero line, okay? In fact, it told you that the move to the upside was going to be over right there before the move actually even began to the downside, okay? Cool, but this is a trend chart. We want to know, is this the early onset of a trend, okay? We had PureMO rising, it hit exhaustion zone right there, came down, that was the end of that, but is it the start of a trend, Chris? Well, look at this, okay? PureMO is coming down here really nice, but for this really to give you an indication that it's really the start of a trend, I want to see this purple line at least right here at the threshold, okay? And right now it's at the zero line right there. In addition to that, we've also got this bad boy, which is right there in cycle territory and not down here at the 0.43 level about to bust down. So if we've got cycle below zero, okay, and momentum still at the zero line right there, and this bad boy still in cycle territory and not down here, you know, this is where I'd really like to see it right down here, right there, right at the cusp of moving down, okay? Is this really a move that's potentially gonna take off? Okay? I would say it's not. I would say this is not really the setup to go to trend. And so I'm going to go ahead and switch it back over to my cycle chart, okay? And if here in my cycle chart, I'm already, you know, I already had cycle come up here, then this is really going to end up just being a a little bit longer of a cycle, and that's just it. In which case, I wouldn't mind buying this bad boy back,
Order filled.
getting out of the trade, and being done with it right there. Okay? So let's go ahead and see what happened here. Price is hitting the 112 VWAP right here. Let's see if it holds or breaks. So we've got our 15 bar VWAP right here, and we know that if price goes into this 15 bar VWAP, this is going to be nothing but noise. Oh, and by the way, what it had the appearance of being a trend ended up being a complete dud right there. Okay, you're right here between 112 and your 15 bar VWAP, guys. Look at the tight range that this is actually trading in. There is no trade. It's very difficult to trade these bars. I'd rather step out, step to the side, and not trade this. And so we'll see if we see a better opportunity here on the cycle chart, okay? So we're going to confirm any trades that we see here in the cycle chart with what we see on the trend chart. But for right now, you've got a little bit of a pivot trade right here, which is what this appears to be turning into, okay? And remember, I've told you guys in the past many times, whenever you get these little pivot trades, like right here, just boom, all of a sudden turns down, these trades don't have a lot of meat on the bone, okay? So you're right there, look at this, at your 112 VWAP, and it's not moving. Okay, so right there, look, now we got something a little bit different, okay? Momentum came all the way down again, past the threshold down here, 0.80 threshold. So what do? Let's go ahead and confirm to see if this move is gonna end up being just an overshoot of momentum, a cycle trade where it just really goes up, or maybe perhaps the beginning of a trend, okay? So let's go over here and see how this looks on your trend chart right here. Let's go ahead and just roll this again. So what do? We have momentum down below zero right here. You've got cycle up here, and you've got momentum falling right here, guys, okay? Would you take this trade to the downside? That's the big question right there for you, okay? Would you take it to the downside? If you were to take this trade to the downside, guys, it'd be very nice to actually see cycle turn down. We got a couple of things here that may play out in your favor. You got momentum breaking down right there. You've got scalp mode right there, exactly where we wanted to see it back over here. And you see the difference, okay? This was scalp mode in the first trade to the downside. This is scalp mode right here in the second trade to the downside, okay? This is nice right here. Exactly. Show me, wait for the next bar. Right, exactly. Here's also something else to consider, guys, okay? If you ever notice here with PureMO, you see how the lines were coming down right here and they were separated, okay? Keep one thing in mind as far as the construction of how PureMO was actually developed, okay? You have a momentum line right here, which is the yellow line, and then you have a leading function of momentum, which is the purple line right here. Okay, the purple line is always leading the yellow line right there. Okay, and when you see a lead right here of both lines, you see how the purple line is leading the yellow line. You typically have typically have a stronger move to the downside than when they're both together like this, okay? When they're both together like this, what it's telling you is that this is likely gonna be a move, but it's gonna be a slow move to the downside, okay? And if that's the case, you gotta be careful with these type of moves because they may not gain as much speed as a trade where you have the leading function actually leading the yellow line, okay? So that's a little nuance right there that you may wanna keep in the back of your mind. So we confirmed on the cycle chart. We're looking here on the trend chart. We've got this bad boy right here kind of kissing together. We have this going down, which is different than the earlier trade that we took over here. And we've got momentum coming down right here. And we've got cycle still kind of flat right there too. So let's see what happens and where we would actually pull the trigger on this. Okay, I pulled the trigger right there. Now that cycle is actually coming down on this bar. Okay, We got a little bit of a shift here in momentum, and we'll just go ahead and ride this downward now. Now look at this, guys. This particular trade right here, you see how both the momentum line and the purple line were really close together right there. That is really too close for comfort. That was telling you that the move to the downside wasn't gonna be very strong, okay? I'm gonna go ahead and take the trade off as soon as I see the purple line hit the 0.20 threshold, and it's almost there, about to hit it, and when it does, I am out of that trade. Yeah, it's right there at the threshold, so I wouldn't mind pulling the trigger and taking that trade off. That's probably about a 50-point win from 426 to 389 right there, okay? You could tell that the cycle is almost done as well in its rotation. Let me go ahead and put a little marker right there. That would be probably cycle number, I'd like to say that that's cycle number 2 right there. Oops, I put the wrong arrow. Yeah, that's cycle number 2. And the reason we know that that is cycle number 2 right there, let me go ahead and stop it real quick, because this is where momentum actually sunk here on the trend chart. You see that? So if you count the cycles, this would be cycle number 1, and this would be cycle number 2. So what happened here is the cycle chart caught the rotation, the beginning of cycle number 2, when we took this trade to the downside. It didn't really capture cycle number 1 because there was really nothing here in terms of the move. We came, we confirmed, we verified, there was nothing there, but it did capture the second component of the cycle right there. It was a nice little clip from 426 to 389 it was almost about 50 points, give or take right there, okay? So let's go ahead and continue that right here. Now, if this is gonna go back into cycle territory, I want to get my cycle chart again, because I know that if cycle number 2 ended, then what's going to follow is eventually a potential cycle to the upside. Okay, so let's see how this plays out. And here we go. That looks like a little trade to the upside right there. Oops, I jumped into that one probably way too early. Okay, we had a pivot trade right there. I should have waited one more bar to actually see this. And that was my bad for jumping in too early. I thought this was going to continue going up. It pivoted down, and now it's pivoting back up again. Woo! Okay, and the moment that these two cross, that's it, guys. That's the end of that move right there to the upside.
Order filled.
There you go, right there. Okay, from 429 to 467, that was not a move. That was not a bad move to the upside. It was a quick move. It was only about maybe 3 bars to the upside. These pivot trades are very short-lived in nature. Now, check this out. Look at what happened. You started down here at the base VWAP, okay? So if you're here at the base VWAP, coming off, okay, coming up off of this downtrend that you were in right here, okay? Which way do you think price is going to go if you're right here at the base VWAP? Obviously up, okay? But look at what happened. The moment it hit the top of this 15-bar VWAP, it bounced. Right here, look at this, guys. I mean, you can't make this stuff up, all right? You're at the base VWAP. You just came off a nice little sell-off. You're going to have a short covering rally. That you know for sure. Just basic trading 101, okay? You got to cover your shorts, okay? You're at the base of the bottom of the VWAP right here. It's going to go up if you have a pull to the upside here with cycle, okay? And this bad boy right here pulled up, hit the top right here of the 15-bar VWAP and bounced. Look at that. Pretty amazing, okay? Now let's go ahead and keep trucking on this and see how it works. Now, we're not taking any trades, guys, inside of this blue 15-bar VWAP. And the reason we're not taking any trades, because any trades that typically originate inside right here are extremely short-lived. They're very tight, okay? And there's not a lot of meat on the bone. And I've demonstrated this in previous videos in the past. So whenever you're inside this 15-bar VWAP, you kind of want to sit on your hands and let price kind of do its thing, play out, let it bounce around inside this 15-bar VWAP until you actually get some type of confirmed move, either to the upside or the downside. Man, that's awesome. Well, welcome to the family, man, to the CYMO family. I haven't checked my Discord today because I've just been honestly buried with things here on my desk and trying to get some programming done and some one-on-ones. I'll definitely check the Discord after I get off for sure. It's on my list for sure. But if you got set up, man, you're good to go then. You're good to go. Okay, so here we go, guys. We got cycle going up. We got a pivot trade right here. Okay, little pivot trade. And remember, guys, I'm not taking these pivot trades because they're typically very, very, very short-lived unless momentum continues to run up to the upside. Okay, so, and that's the end of the pivot trade right there. You see that? Not a lot of meat on the bone on these trades. So here's something interesting right here, guys. You've got momentum rising, okay, and you've got CYMO, you've got cycle coming up from the bottom threshold right here. Could this be the very early outset of some type of trend? Let's go here to our trend chart and find out right here. Okay, well, not bad. I kind of like what I'm seeing. Check this out, okay? ABC process die. What are we looking at right here, okay? We're looking at price above the 80 bar VWAP, which is always a good indication. And we've got momentum above the zero line, and it's not just momentum kind of meandering, it's momentum kind of pulling price up. There are no sine wave formations right here at all, okay? With CYMO set to 14, all right? So you're right here, just about to cross the zero line to the upside, and you've got momentum about to shift up right there, and you've got scalp mode right there as well. So is this the beginning of an uptrend, of some type of uptrend, guys? Okay, guys, all the details to the indicators, they're on the link in the bio. Okay, and I promise I'll get to your questions as soon as I'm done here with the demo. And I'm almost done. I just can't read remarks and trade at the same time. So we confirmed. Let me just go ahead and bring it back. Okay, right here on our cycle chart. Okay, what goes down must go up. Okay, didn't we see something like this at the very beginning of the day? Okay, where momentum was up and cycle was down right there, about to tilt up, and all of a sudden we got this crazy move right out of the gate, right? Well, this is not the open, but you have the same type of scenario here where cycle is down, about to pivot up, just tilt it up right there, and you've got momentum rising right there. Could that be the beginning of something big? Okay, well, we came back here to our trend chart. We noticed that cycle's crossing above zero. We just had a little shift. You could barely see it on your screen, I'm sure, here with momentum. And you've got scalp mode right here at 0.43, okay? And and if we're going to go ahead and pull the trigger on this, guys, then this would probably be the moment right here, okay?
Order filled.
You're above the 80 bar VWAP as well. Let's see what happens. Now, we're actually in the process of repeating the same thing we just had happen over here when this trade went down, okay? And that's that you've got PureMO rising, okay, above this threshold, but it's rising in tandem with the momentum line, okay? Remember, guys, that when PureMO rises, when the lines are, when there's divergence in the lines like this, okay, there's more strength in the move. And the reason why is because the purple line is the leading function of the yellow line, okay? Purple line always leads the yellow line, all right? That's how PureMO works, okay? But when they're flush, that means that this is going to be a really short-lived move, all right? So if it's gonna be a short-lived move, and I see, you know, the purple line coming down right there, then I don't know, guys. I'm gonna have to rethink my trade and perhaps exit, okay? Right there, you see that?
Order filled.
And let's see how this plays out, and let me go ahead and bring back my cycle chart right here, okay? We had a move to the upside, and look at that. That's the end of it, okay? There's nothing else. There's nothing else left in that trade, okay? At all, okay, guys? And that's just, you know, one of the things that you need to look out for, and you need to understand the relationship of what you're looking at on the cycle chart relative to what you're looking at right here, okay? Anytime you see this type of move going up like this and the lines are really tightly moving together the way you see it like this, and you happen to see a little cross like this, the way I did, okay, when I pulled the trigger and took that trade off right there, that's the end of it. There's nothing else, okay, left in the trade. That means the trade isn't moving with enough strength to really push price up, even though we flagged it as the early onset of a trend right here, okay? Something to keep in mind in the process of you guys trading, okay? This right here is different than this going up. You see that? With a lot more strength. All right, so let me go ahead and bring this back right here for you guys to see this, okay?
Wow, did you see that? That's what you call precision.
All right, guys, if you didn't have these tools today, let's be real, okay? Today was guaranteed death for traders who rely on lagging indicators, random support and resistance zone, or gut feel, okay? You were outmatched by structure, and the market doesn't care about your ego. But if you had CYMO, if you had PureMO, if you followed process, you had clarity, and you had a map, okay? So here's the deal, guys. You can grab your 7-day free trial, access to CYMO, PureMO, and ScalpMO, our private Discord membership, 2 free one-on-one calls with me, okay? You get access to sessions with Dr. Freud, our psychology bot that helps you identify destructive patterns and build discipline in your trading behavior. All of this yours the moment you hit the link in my bio, okay? But this trial isn't for tourists. It's for traders who are sick of being stuck, sick of trading blind, and ready to trade with tools designed for real market structure, not guesswork, okay? So I'll go ahead and leave it there, and I'll post this on Discord and also post the video up on our YouTube for you guys to go ahead and replay and audit the results.